Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So we are going to be talking about all the books that I read in 2024 and we're going to be tier ranking them based on how much I like them. Okay, I'm moving you guys here so you can't really see the books, but I'm going to move them back so I could sit here, and then I have my iPad which I'm going to be using to tier rank all of the books. You're saying hi? Go in your bed. You're so good. The different tiers that I have 6-star reads. I have Never Shut Up About, because I will not shut up about them, but they're not my tops. I liked but not my fave, so literally in the title I liked it, but it was my fave. Interesting, ... It was an interesting book, to say the least. And then no, just no. Like literally, that basically explained itself. Let's just get into it. Also, I would like to mention that it's 4 o'clock, so it's going to get dark, which means that it's going to start to get darker while I'm filming this. So I'm actually gonna go turn on my Christmas lights, and then I'll probably put on my ring light like later in the video, because it's gonna get really dark. Okay, so let's just get right in. So the first book that I read this year was The American Roommate Experiment. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't remember much about this book except for literally one scene. I just remember that he took her on a bunch of dates, and I actually gave this book a 2.5 stars. So I think I'm gonna put it in interesting, because I genuinely don't remember much about it, but I remember that I was like kind of bored at points, and I kind of only read it because Mads told me to, and it's like one of her favorite romances ever, but I didn't love it. Next, we have Credence. Now listen, I rated Credence a 4 stars, and it's like kind of good, not gonna lie. And it's not like, okay, I know what you guys are gonna say. You're literally gonna be like, you know, that's like her step uncle and step cousins. Okay, but listen, it wasn't only that, and it wasn't only because of the spice that's in that book, but the imagery that Penelope Douglas does. Now listen, I know you're probably thinking that I'm trying to cover my butt by saying this and that I'm just making it up to say that it was a good book, but when I tell you, I can imagine every single thing that Miss Penelope Douglas was describing. She's so good with that imagery, and like, it's just great. And I love the characters, honestly, they were great, and it was very unexpected as well. The ending, just gonna say, I thought it was pretty good. I'm gonna say I liked but wasn't a fave, because I don't think it's like a book that I always talk about, but I think it's a book that I do like tell a lot of people that I like, so I don't think I can put it in Never Shut Up About. So I think I'm gonna put it in liked but wasn't a fave. Okay, next, oh my gosh, I just realized I forgot to hold it up, but here's Credence. Next, I read Heir of Fire by Sarah J Maas. This is part of the Throne of Glass series. This one was honestly pretty iffy for me. While I was reading it, I was really bored, and it was genuinely a struggle to get through. There was a lot of new characters, which wasn't really a problem for me. I don't even know. It was just like how all of the characters were going to relate to the story, I feel like was kind of like boring for me. Like I didn't really know how that was going to work, but it was honestly pretty good. The ending was crazy. I think the ending definitely made up for the boringness that was part of this book, but I literally, the new characters that were introduced, of course I love them. Now that I'm finished with the series, I feel like this was so important to the story. I feel like this was more of like an informational book. If you're wanting to go into the Throne of Glass series, just know that this is going to be like a very informational book and very like people heavy and learning new people, but it was 100% necessary to the story, and I think that's now why I appreciate this book so much. So I think I'm gonna put this in Never Shut Up About, because I love the Throne of Glass series with all of my heart. Like that's literally like one of my favorite series in the entire world. So I feel like even though I didn't really like this book, it was very necessary to the story. Also, if you see my dog over there, his name is Griffin, and he's so cute. He's a pitty, and I love him. So if you see him, then he says hi. Next, I read Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. I think this is probably my favorite in the Twisted series. I think my favorite man is probably Alex Volkov from Twisted Love, but this is definitely my favorite book in general from that series. I just loved Jules so much. Like, she's literally my spirit animal. First of all, she has red hair. I have red hair. Second of all, she's going to law school. I want to be a lawyer when I'm older. So I love that for both of us. And I feel like just the two of them in general in this book, how Josh is so like cocky about himself and Jules is so confident and like fiery, I feel like is literally such a perfect mix for these two. I genuinely loved it. Josh Chen, I will never forgive you though. I think I'm gonna have to go with Never Shut Up about this one as well, because I really loved this book. And honestly, if I reread the series now, I probably wouldn't like, I think, the first two books as much as I said I did. But I'm gonna be completely honest, I really, really did like this book, because I know there's a lot of hate that goes to this series, but I really liked it. Personally, I really liked it. Next, we have the Mindfuck series. This series, I think I read this in like 5 days. Like, I literally read a book a day, because they were only like 100 pages or so, because this is like 500, 600 pages. So it was really, really good though. I 100% recommend this book, and I feel like I don't talk about it enough. It's so fantastic. Literally, it is a murderer. She is a murderer. Lana Myers is a murderer. Or serial killer. Actually, I should say serial killer, not really murderer. I mean, kind of same thing, but different at the same time. And the guy that she falls in love with is an FBI agent. Tell me that couldn't get any better. Literally fantastic. This book was great. I feel like I don't remember individually what happened in each of the books, because there's like, again, like I said, like 5 little books, and I'm holding up the one that has all 5 together. So basically it's like 5 little books, but the author put it in one big book, which I got off of eBay, I think. So yeah, I feel like I don't talk about this book enough to say that I never shut up about it. So I think I'm gonna put it in I liked but wasn't a fave, and I'm gonna do that with all of them, because like I said, they're all different individual books, but like they all mush into one. So like once you finish the first book, it jumps right into the second book. So it's fairly simple to read, and it's a dark romance too, which I do not read dark romances. I don't really like dark romances, even though, yes, I just said that I liked Credence and that I liked the Mindfuck series, but those are like, I think, the 2 dark romances that I've read, and I think there's one more towards the end of the year that I really liked. Oh, Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. But that's like it. Those are like all the dark romances I read, I think, and I just really liked those. Next, we have Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. This is the last book in the Twisted series, and this is, oh my god, who was this? Stella and Christian. I really enjoyed this book. I really loved Christian, but I feel like Stella, I don't know, I feel like the 3rd act breakup in here was, okay, I'm gonna say unnecessary, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of people who are like, what? Because if you know the 3rd act breakup, then you're probably really confused as to why I'm saying this, but I feel like it was very unnecessary, and I get that Stella has like anxiety and like social anxiety and like all of that type of stuff, but like, I don't know, I feel like the 3rd act breakup was just different in here, and I feel like, I don't know, I don't know if it was that I didn't feel it was necessary or that I just didn't like it, maybe a bit of both, but I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it as much as I did Twisted Hate. I did love Christian though, so I don't know, I think I'm gonna put it, see, I feel like I liked but wasn't a fave is gonna be like huge. I think I'm gonna put it in I liked but wasn't a fave, because I did, but like, it wasn't a fave. Next, we have A Curse for True Love. This was the 3rd book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. Again, I can't really remember much that happened in this book. I remember the beginning of it and I remember the end of it, but I don't remember anything of the middle. I do remember it being pretty good though, and liking it more than I did the first book, because the first book was like iffy for me. I didn't really love that book. That was like a 3 stars for me maybe, and then the second book was fantastic. I rated that like a 4.5 or so, and then immediately after the last book, you're going to want to go into this book. So I bought this almost immediately, and it was good. I read it in like 3 days, but I didn't, again, like I said, love it. So I think yet again we're saying, oops, wrong one. Yet again, I think we're saying I liked but wasn't a fave. I have a feeling that tier, oh my gosh, I almost knocked this whole pile over. Next, we have none other than Queen of Shadows. Okay, so I've been thinking, after I finished like the entire series, I immediately said that Kingdom of Ash was my favorite out of all of them, but then I remembered what happened in each book because it was all just like jumbled in my brain for some reason of how everything played out. So I just didn't put things in each book, and I just said Kingdom of Ash was my favorite. But honestly, I think that Queen of Shadows might be my favorite. Either that or Empire of Storms, because someone's a little tired. Kingdom of Ash was so good, but I feel like you can't top Queen of Shadows or Empire of Storms. Yes, I did DNF this like 20 or 30% through, but then I picked it back up and I was like, wow. So I think we're going to have to put this one in 6-star reads. I do not shut up about this series. That book was fantastic. Like, again, probably one of my favorites out of the whole series. Okay, next I read Haunting Adeline. I don't know what honestly to say about this book, because while I was reading it, I was concerned, but I wasn't hating it. Is that really bad to say? I genuinely like wasn't hating this book while I was reading it. It was definitely interesting. Don't get me wrong. It was definitely a very interesting book, which is I think why I'm going to put it in interesting. But it was just, I don't really know what else to say, honestly. And then now, of course, we have Empire of Storms, my baby. I love this book so much. I love the different POVs that we have in here, and I think that's like one of my favorite things about this book is how many POVs that we have. I think there's like 5 different POVs in here, but wow, fantabulous. I love this book so much. There was so much always going on, and I feel like because I did the tandem read, I appreciated this book so much more, because when I get to Tower of Dawn next, I'm going to talk about how I didn't really enjoy reading Tower of Dawn. I was bored when I picked it up. So when I read Empire of Storms, it was literally like a breath of fresh air, except it wasn't at the same time because there was so much going on. And if you know, you know. But fantabulous. Absolutely love this book. Again, putting this in 6-star reads because this book and Queen of Shadows and this entire series has my entire heart. We have Tower of Dawn. Again, I did the tandem read, so I read this at the exact same time that I was reading Empire of Storms. And basically, if you don't know what the tandem read is for Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, these are 2 different POVs. So this is POV of somebody, of different people in another place, but at the same time as Empire of Storms. So they're both going on at the same time, just different POVs in different places. So that's why you're wanting to tandem read, because this one is also very slow, and a lot of people don't like this one as much, including me. I didn't really like it as much, but of course it's crucial to the storyline of how Throne of Glass goes, and also crucial to Kingdom of Ash and how everything plays out. So I'm going to say Never Shut Up About, because it's in the series that I never shut up about, except this book I don't really shut up about. But I'm still going to put it in Never Shut Up About, because I do enjoy the series very much so, and it's one of my favorite series in the entire world. So I feel like I have to put it there, even though I don't really talk about it a lot. I do talk about Empire of Storms a lot, and again, the entire series. Oh my gosh, we have By a Thread. I love By a Thread so much. I actually reread this because I read it last year, in I think like the summertime, and it was just a Lucy scorebook. I saw it, and I think I saw Destiny read it in one of her videos, or Sarah, I think, and I was like, oh my gosh, that like looks so cute. And so I picked it up, and it became one of my favorite romances literally of all time. So I wanted to reread it, and of course, 6-star read. I love that book so much. I don't know why, but I just literally love it. So we're putting it in 6-star reads. I don't have it with me. I do have my physical copy, but I don't have it with me because I gave it to one of my friends, and she's currently reading it. Next, we have Kingdom of Ash. I'm very surprised actually because I read this in like 2 weeks, which is pretty good, honestly, because, well, I did use the audiobook, so that's probably why. But for like an almost 1,000 page book, reading this in 2 weeks was pretty good for me. Besides, I also read like 3 other books in that month, which was crazy. But, okay, we have freaking Kingdom of Ash here. And I'm putting that in, I think I'm honestly going to put it in Never Shut Up About, because yes, this book was absolutely fantastic, but I don't think it can compare to how I felt reading or remembering everything that happened in Queen of Shadows and Empire of Storms. So I fear that's going on Never Shut Up About. But again, like I said, still absolutely amazing. My foot literally feels like it's gonna fall off. We have The Rulebook by Sarah Adams. I'm telling you, I was miserable reading this book. Absolutely miserable. The first, like, half of the book, I was like, oh, this is going really well. And then towards the end, we completely forgot about the entire plot. Okay, the plot of this book that is on the back is non-existent. We talked about it maybe twice throughout the entire book, but the rest of the book, like, we didn't even talk about it. Like, it was non-existent, okay? The literal whole point of this book was not talked about. I rated it a 2 stars. The guy was kind of cringy, kind of meaning very cringy. I did not like him at all. And the woman was not insufferable, but not pleasant. I didn't really like it. So we're gonna put her in no, just no. I don't know if I'd recommend this or not. I feel like it could be like a quick, easy read, but you're probably not gonna enjoy it that much. So I don't know. I'm just putting it in no, just no. Personally, my opinion, I do not like it. Then I read Throttled by Lauren Asher. This is part of the Dirty Air series, and literally, he's a freaking race car driver. He is literally a race car driver. This man, oh my gosh, I love Noah. I love him. I do want to clarify that I do not remember a lot of what happened in this book. I'm going to be completely honest because I read this, I'm pretty sure. Did I read this in a short period of time? I don't really remember, but I don't remember a lot of things that happen in this book. There's like 2 scenes that are like vivid to me, but I do remember like the whole plot. This is like her brother's best friend, or no, brother's rival. This is her brother's rival, which was really cool. Actually, I really liked that trope. Did I read a book like that before? I don't think I've read a book with brother's rival before. I could be wrong though, but I actually loved like that trope. Like, it's so cool. And I really liked this book. It was very enjoyable, and I'm definitely going to continue the series. So I think I'm going to put this in I liked but wasn't a fave. Next, I read Indigo Ridge. So Indigo Ridge was really good. Actually, I really liked this book. It's a country romance mixed with a mystery thriller. And while I was reading this book, I was on the edge of my seat. I cried at the end of this book. And I still rated it like a 3.75, which isn't bad, but it wasn't as high as I like anticipated. I feel like this was at the beginning of the year, so I can't really remember my exact thoughts, but I could have sworn that like I was looking for something more for the book, but like there wasn't like, you know, like I don't really know what I'm saying, but I think that there was something else that could have been added to the end of the book, or I remember that something happened and we didn't talk about it or something. I don't remember. I really do want to read the rest of the series. I literally haven't gotten to it because I can't for the life of me remember what the next book is. I don't know if it's Garnet Flat or if that's like the new one, but I really do want to read about the rest of the people in that family. I think I'm gonna put it again in I liked but not a fave because because it was honestly really good. I really loved it. I liked the whole plot and summary. Okay, next we have Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Okay, this book did something to me. This is immediately going in Never Shut Up About, because yes, I don't really talk about this book often. Something about childhood best friends to lovers absolutely is like heartbreaking. Like, when you read Childhood Friends to Lovers, you know there's gonna be a heartbreak, okay? If he had been with me, Love in Other Words. I really don't know if there's any more that I've read that are Childhood Friends to Lovers, but I also love that we got the 2 not point of views, but timelines. We got 2 timelines during this book. So we got the present and we got the past, and that's what I absolutely loved about this book, because we got to see what happened and how like they were and then how they are now, you know, and the ending was just crazy. Like, I can envision everything so unbelievably well in this book. And they were reading together. It was so cute and it was so wholesome. And that's what I absolutely love about this book. It's just like, feels like a comfort book to me. Like a comfort book. Like, I love that. So yeah, definitely Never Shut Up About. And I probably should start talking about this book more because I love it so much. But I just kind of honestly forget about it sometimes, which is so sad. But it's so good. Next, we have Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. I kind of really didn't like this book. It's very boring until like the end. There wasn't really much character talking about in this book. I'm gonna be completely honest, like I know nothing about either of these characters. I know that the guy was like Irish or Scottish or something and like possibly had green eyes, and the woman, I think, did she have blonde hair or brown hair? I really don't even remember. But there was like not talking about the characters like at all. We knew nothing about them. And I don't know, I just kind of found it boring. I was listening to the end of it while playing a game on my phone because I just wasn't interested, and I was so close to DNFing it. But I was like, why would I DNF it? So I literally just listened to the audiobook throughout like the last, I want to say 10% of the book, maybe 15. So I don't even remember what happened at the end. Like, I think I do, but I don't even think I was paying attention. I'm gonna be completely honest. So I'm just not gonna talk about this book anymore. I don't think it was terrible. I loved the plot and I was so excited, but I feel like it didn't meet the expectations that I had. So I think I'm gonna put it in interesting because I didn't despise it, but I didn't love it, and I felt like there could have been more, at least to the characters, because I feel like that's something that I really like look for in a story, is like knowing the characters and their background to help develop the story. And I feel like we didn't get any of that in the book, so that's why that's going there. I read Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. This is a book that people have literally been begging me to read, and I'm really excited actually to talk about this book because I don't think I've read a dystopian other than The Hunger Games, and I enjoyed The Hunger Games a lot, and I really liked dystopian. Like, while I was reading that book, I didn't really realize what dystopian was because we were reading it for a dystopian unit in school, and so I was like, wow, I really like that type of like writing and how the world will turn out in the future. And I really liked that trope, or that, not trope, genre, hello? So I picked up Shatter Me knowing that it was a dystopian, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. I did tab it. Oh my gosh, look at my tabs. But here are my tabs. I think they're literally so cute. I really enjoyed her as a person in here because I liked how she would say like she isn't insane. Like, she would write like, I'm not insane, and she isn't. She's just been locked up, and like, oh my god, I feel like I also relate to her a lot. But I really love her as a character, and I think that's another reason why I genuinely really liked this book, was because I loved her as a character. Of course, Mr. Aaron Warner. What are we gonna do? I think I'm gonna put this in, honestly, Never Shut Up About. I liked it, and it kind of was a fave of the year. So I think I'm gonna put it in Never Shut Up About, because I feel like it shouldn't be downgraded to wasn't a fave, because it was one of my favorites of the year. Okay, and then I read Destroy Me, which is, it's all the way down here, because the other novella's in there too. It's the first novella in... Would you like to leave? Okay. Okay, I turned my ring light on because it was getting a little dark. So the actual first novella that comes after Shatter Me is called Unite Me. And in Unite Me, there are 2 mini novellas that are both from different people's point of views. So that first novella was Destroy Me, and then that second novella was Fracture Me, which I read later in the year. So Destroy Me really was like not really much, honestly. It was just in another person's point of view that we got and their little side of the story, I guess, but it was only like 111 pages, I think, or 107, so there really wasn't, again, like much to it. So I think, I don't know, I don't want to put it in interesting because it wasn't bad. It was just like not great. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna put it in interesting, honestly, because, hello? Oh, there we go. So that's where that's going. Next, we read Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is the first book in the Chestnut Spring series. Honestly, Rhett Ian has my entire heart. I love this man so much. I actually love both of these characters, and this whole book was just fantastic. Like, I literally loved the entire aspect of it. It was a great start to the story as well, because I feel like a lot of books, when you first start a series and each book is like a different person or like two different characters in the same family type thing, like obviously Chestnut Springs, or like the Edens, the Indigo Ridge, and like the, oh my god, what is that called? Like, what is their thing called? Like, this is the Chestnut Springs. I think I'm going insane. Is it the Edens? I don't know, but whatever Indigo Ridge is, and like that whole series, because I know that's pretty big, like that type of family and that type of, what was I saying? Okay, so normally like personally I think the first like couples in the first book are like boring or like mid, not boring, but like mid, and then like once you get throughout the series, like everybody else has like different character traits or is like crazy or psychotic or like known to be like lovey-dovey or whatever. Like they have like different character traits, whereas like the first book and the first people are just kind of like mid. I feel like that isn't flawless though, because Rhett is like literally the perfect man. I love Rhett so much, and I love Summer and how sweet she is. She's literally like the sweetest, and I love how Rhett can just like handle situations with her, and it's great. I love both of them so much. So I think I'm gonna put this in Never Shut Up About, because I love the Chestnut Spring series so much, and Rhett is my second favorite man. My first man is Theo Silva, but Rhett is definitely my second favorite man, and Summer is so sweet. Next, we have Heartless by Elsie Silver. This is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series after Flawless. This is my absolute favorite book in the entire series already. Heartless is immediately going up to 6-star reads because Willa is my favorite woman in this entire series. I know I still have one more book to go, and I know it's like, I think Bailey, but nobody's ever going to beat Willa. Nobody will beat Willa. I literally am in love with this book, and I'm in love with Cade. I love him so much. Although he's not my favorite man, Cade, the man you are. The ending, I love literally everything about this book so much. It is one of my favorite books of the entire year, and I just love it so much, and it's my favorite, and I love Cade and I love Willa, and Willa's a redhead too. I mean, twins, hello. Now, going on to the second pile here, you can already see this one's getting big, so I think we need to kind of scooch this over. We have Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. I actually DNF'd this book because I couldn't stand it. Basically, the entire time, the main character and her ex-husband were fighting over their kids, basically, was what I got the gist of, and I guess somebody else's dog like peed on her or something. That's what I got from this book, and I was halfway through and I was hating my life, so I DNF'd it and I gave it a 2 stars because I got over 50%. That is my thing. I get over 50% in a book, then I'm still gonna rate it, but like if I DNF it and get over 50% of it done, then I'm still gonna rate it and talk about it and count it as a book because I got over 50%. I didn't like it, and I know Destiny rated it a 5 stars, which is why I was like desperate to finish it, but like I physically couldn't. Like I was hating reading it, and that is not something you should be doing while reading a book. You shouldn't hate the book while you're reading it, just DNF it. So I did, and that was actually the only DNF that I had this year that I got like over 50% of. There are some other books that I started, like Good Girl Bad Blood. I started that, but soft DNF'd it. This is a hard DNF. Like, I will not go back and read the rest of this, but Good Girl Bad Blood, I definitely will. So I think I'm putting this in no, just no, because I mean, if I DNF'd it, of course it's going to be like at the bottom. Next, we have The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is a thriller, and this is like one of really the only thrillers that I read this year. I think there's only like a few, but this was really good. This book actually got me into Evermore by Taylor Swift, because I was originally like Lover, 1989, Reputation Girl, and like those albums that are like the popular ones really. And then I got into Evermore because was it dedication? Oh no, it was just here. It says, I think he did it, but I just can't prove it. And it's No Body, No Crime by Taylor Swift. So I had a No Body, No Crime literal phase where I would not stop listening to it. And that's because of this book. And I was like, wow, this is a really good song. Let me listen to the rest of Evermore, because if it's like this song, then I think I'm really gonna like it. But I definitely now am an Evermore folklore tortured poets, oh my goodness, tortured poets department girl now. Tortured Poets Department will forever be my favorite. I love that album so much. But going back to the book now, this was definitely crazy. I did not anticipate this at all, the plot twist in here. I wrote down, again, I say this about literally every single thriller book that I read, because I want to try and guess the plot twist, but there's only one thriller this year that I guess the plot twist on, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But I wrote down like 3 different theories I had, maybe two or three I wrote down. I didn't write down a lot because I had no clue what to like think of this book. Like there really was just so much that I could have thought of and like guessed, but there was nothing in mind. So I wrote down like 2 theories, and literally none of them were right. If you asked me to guess 10 different theories, I would not have guessed this. That is like crazy for me to say, because like this was definitely not what I was anticipating at all, but it was really, really good. I think I'm gonna put this in I liked but wasn't a fave, because like I don't really talk about this book very much, but it's definitely like underrated. Like I've not seen a lot of people talk about this book, but I feel like it definitely needs to be talked about more, because it was like fantastic. What's next? Oh, okay, next I read Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is the 3rd book in the Chestnut Springs series, and I honestly didn't love this book. I don't know what it is about this. I don't know if I didn't even go in with like bad expectations. He is literally a hockey player, an ice hockey player. I love ice hockey players, okay? So why I didn't like this book, I have no clue. It just didn't feel like the first 2. And I feel like that's because the first 2 books were very, very, very much country. Rhett is a bull rider. Kate is a bull rider. And then he's an ice hockey player. Yes, he lives in Chestnut Springs, where it's country, but it just didn't give me the same vibe as Flawless and Heartless did. And I think I was going into it thinking that it was going to give me that vibe, and it didn't. And I feel like that's why I didn't like it as much. So I rated it a 3.75 stars. Originally it was a 4, but I just felt like that was still too much. So I rated it a 3.7. Beginning of the book was hilarious, I think. Like literally so funny. And I remember I was at my grandparents' house, and I was up at like 12 a.m. reading this book, and I was giggling my little butt off because it was so funny. I was laughing so hard because of the beginning of this book. It was so funny. But I don't know, I think it just went downhill. I also didn't like the guy. I feel like he was he was supposed to be so sweet and like kind of like a Wes Bennett. If you read Better Than the Movies, I feel like he was trying to be like a Wes Bennett, and then like 2 chapters later he was trying to be like Cade and be all grumpy. But like you can't be both. Like he physically cannot be both. Like Cade, first of all, you will never be Cade. But like, I don't know. He just seemed like he was trying to be like all grumpy when he was literally the sunshine man. I think I'm gonna put this in, I liked but wasn't a fave, because I don't know, it just really did not give me the same feeling as the first 2 books in the Chestnut Springs series did. Oh wait, no. There we go. Okay, next I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. This was such a cute book. I loved this book so much. I originally rated it like Powerless a 4 stars, but bumped it down to a 3.7 because I feel like I don't talk about it as much just because it's like more of a summer book, and I feel like I just don't really talk about it. But I read this in Florida, which is another reason why I really liked it, because I was just so happy while I was in Florida. So like any book that I would have read in Florida, I would have loved because I was in such a good mood. This book was so cute. It was so cute but heartbreaking at the same time. And I always now, when I look at this book, think of Maroon by Taylor Swift. If you saw my associating books with songs video, then you know that I put this book with Maroon by Taylor Swift, which the vibes of both Happy Place and Maroon are like completely different. Maroon is very much like dark, and then Happy Place's vibe is very much happy, obviously, but then once you like read the lyrics, it definitely is just very correlated with each other. Along with, now that I'm thinking about it, Happy Place is very much Midnight Rain by Taylor Swift. Oh my gosh, I should have put that on there. Maybe I'll do that next. But Happy Place is 100% He Was Sunshine, I Was Midnight Rain, because that's exactly what this is. I think I'm gonna do Happy Place in, again, I liked but wasn't a fave. This is just an ongoing thing now because this happened last year too when I was doing my 2023 wrap up, and literally the entire time most of the books were in like the middle column because I didn't want to rate them low because they weren't that bad, but a lot of books that I read this year were just like kind of mid, you know. Oh my god, I should have told you guys my statistics. I think my total pages read was like 20,300 something, and my average rating was a 3.8 because I just looked at that on Fable, so if you were wondering. Next we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is actually getting a lot of hate right now because Powerless is very similar to like The Hunger Games, Red Queen, I've heard too. I haven't read that book, but I think Mads has, and I'm pretty sure Mads said that Powerless is very similar to Red Queen, and Red Queen was out before Powerless was. So Lauren Roberts is getting a lot of hate for Powerless because of that, but I feel like there was a lot in this book that was very original. I'm gonna be completely honest. Oh my gosh, the tension in this book. I rated this book a 5 stars. This was actually a reread. I forgot to say that. This was a reread. I read this last year and wanted to reread it because Powerful was coming out and then also Reckless was coming out. So I wanted to reread this so I can remember, because I kind of forgot everything that happened when I first read it. But now I can literally recite everything that happens in this book, and I love this book so much, and I loved it before the hate, and I still love it now. I loved Powerless. I loved Kai Azer. Kai Azer is literally, I think, one of my favorite bookmen. I'm gonna be completely honest. This is going, wait. I think this is gonna have to go in Never Shut Up About, because I feel like it's not a 6-star read. Wait, is it a 6-star read? No, it's a 5-star read. And then after I read Powerless, of course, I read Powerful, which was the novella. And this was in another character's point of view, but it was absolutely heartbreaking. This was so sad, but I loved getting this character's point of view while Peyton was somewhere else in Powerless. I'm literally not giving any spoilers. You are not getting any from me. But while Peyton was somewhere else in Powerless, we got this character's point of view, which I really, really, really liked. And I thought that was very, like, smart on Lauren Roberts' end, because I think that's what a lot of people were asking for too. And she delivered. She definitely delivered with this book. But, you know, she also delivered absolute tears and distraught. So yeah, not from me though, but from a lot of other people. I think I'm gonna put this in, again, do I do liked but wasn't a fave? Because I put Destroy Me, which was a novella, in interesting. So I think I'm gonna do that too, because I feel like that's only fair, because yes, I did like Powerful a little bit more than Destroy Me, but we're still gonna keep that in there. Next, I read The Predator by Runix. This was a dark romance that I did not really enjoy. It was purely physical. This book was purely physical. There was no like emotional depth in here. And like there is really some dark romances that have that. Like, wait, what was the one that I was talking about before that I liked? The Mindfuck series. That was not purely physical. That was an emotional relationship. Like they had an emotional relationship in here. But the Predator, he maybe spoke 10 words to her throughout the entire book. So I don't know. I think I'm putting it in interesting because another thing that really annoyed me was that we got nothing at the end. The entire plot of the book. Okay, actually, hold on. Let me finish. The whole plot of the book was never resolved at the end of the book. The entire plot was not resolved. But I've heard that the second book is a continuation of The Predator in the same people's point of views. So I have been saying that The Predator like completely ended with nothing, but I did not know that the next book is also in their point of views as well, and that I guess they continue the plot of the book. So I take that back. So it is probably going to go up a little bit in ranking, or not ranking, but rating, because I did not know that there was a continuation. So still, I think I'm going to keep it interesting just because, again, it was purely physical. Then I read The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. This was life-changing. This book was incredible. Now, I didn't rate this book because this is like a person's life, okay? Like, we literally just read about a person's life. You think I'm going to rate how I liked their life? Like, that's a little crazy, personally, in my opinion. I don't know, do I want to rank it? I don't even know if I'm going to rank it. I think I'm just going to kind of leave it there because, like, I'm going to talk about it, but I don't know. It just, this woman went through so much, and I feel like she gets called, like, crazy and psychotic, but, like, they don't understand what she went through. And even if you think you did know what she went through, just read this book and you'll get it. I had so much sympathy for this woman, and that's probably not what she wanted from this book, which I said in my other video. She probably did not want sympathy through this book, but she's getting it because, like, it's just crazy. So I'm not going to rank this, but I really enjoyed this book. Next, I read The Perfect Marriage by, I think it's Geneva Rose. Is that who it is? I recently just got the hardcover. I don't know if you guys had already seen the reading 150 pages a day video. Emma and I showed our little haul from Barnes, and we both got this book and we were talking about it. So I don't know if you guys saw that yet. It may or may not be out already. If it is, then you should go watch it. If it isn't, then you should watch it when it comes out. But I did really enjoy this book, and I convinced Emma to get it too. It's a psychological thriller, and this is the book that I guessed the plot twist on, and I'm not even saying that in a bad way. It was more like part of the plot because I guessed one thing, but there was still like 2 or 3 other things that I didn't guess, and I really enjoyed reading it. I think the characters were very diverse, which is another thing that I love about books, is when the characters are super diverse and you have different character traits for each character. And I feel like that was also very great for like a thriller because you don't know who did it. Like, literally the whole question of this book is who did it. Fantastic book. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I'm gonna say I liked but wasn't my oops, wrong one. I'm gonna say I liked but wasn't my fave because I don't think I talk about this book as much, again, like as I should, but it was still fantastic and I really enjoyed it. Next, we have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and the whole book was basically this like am I the asshole thing. Like, if you've seen those on, I think it's Reddit, and it's like, am I the asshole, like blah 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 blah, and it tells like the whole story basically, and it's asking if they're the asshole in a situation. So that is how these two characters meet, and just for the summer they are together, and she's a traveling nurse, like I said, so she has to leave but he wants her to stay, and so that's basically the whole plot of the book. But what really absolutely got me and what made me want to throw this book across the room was the amount of times she described herself as small. Like, it's in the sense that she's like not brave or not like worthy enough. Like she'll be like, oh, but like I'm so small, or like her best friend will be like telling her that she can't be small anymore, or like hide away or cry or whatever, and that she needs to be a big girl and stand up for herself, that she's too small. You know how many times she said that in this book? I want to say at least 15. Like, it made me want to absolutely chuck this book across the wall. It made me so unbelievably mad, and that is what made this book not be, like, great. This man is the definition of if he wanted to, he would, though. Because the amount of times that he just did things out of pure, like, oh my gosh, what's the word? Sporadically? Is that the word? Like, just, like, at any time. Like, he would just, like, go and do something that he thought that she would like. And I think that is so unbelievably cute. Literally, he is the definition of if he wanted to, he would. And I think that's so cute. And I really did enjoy part of this book. I think I'm going to put it, though, in interesting just because of the amount of times she said small. And also because it was supposed to be, like, a summer book, but it was not. They mentioned that they were on a beach maybe twice, and that was like the most summer aspects that there actually was in the book. Other than that, there was not summer mentioned whatsoever. The next book that I read was Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I have not shut up about this book to anybody. You know what? I went to Emma with Barnes. I went to Barnes with Emma yesterday, and there was a girl, and she picked up Binding 13. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you picking up Binding 13? She's like, no, I'm just reorganizing the books, but is it good? And I literally went on a whole rant to her. Random girl in Barnes & Noble, if you're seeing this, which you're probably not, but if you are, I'm so sorry, but you need to read Binding 13 immediately. All of you need to, if you haven't already. But immediately, okay, Binding 13 is going up to 6-star reads. If there was one higher than 6-star reads, Binding 13 would be above everything, okay? Binding 13 was actually no, Keeping 13 was the best book of the year. I could put, like, series above anything else. Like, this is my favorite series in the entire world, probably. I think will forever be my absolute favorite series ever. And then, of course, right after Binding 13, I read Keeping 13. And, of course, again, going right up to 6-star reads, Keeping 13 was even better than Binding 13. Keeping 13 was fantastic. I think I cried 5 times during the duration of this book. I'm gonna be completely honest. I absolutely sobbed my eyes out, and I fear I need to, like, reread these, like, right now. I'm in the middle of redeeming 6, though, so that book. After I read Keeping 13, I read The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This was a purely fantasy book. There was absolutely no romance in here, which was definitely good for me because I've always read, if I was reading a fantasy, it was always romantasy with romance in it. There was always something happening in this book, which I thought was fantastic. I did enjoy it. I really loved, like, the whole plot point of this book and, like, how it all started, and how, like, you need to take a test to get into this, like, huge school, and she passed with, like, flying colors. So I literally love that. She's so smart. She's also so badass. Why? I was gonna literally spoil it, but she's literally so badass. It wasn't my favorite, so I think that's why I'm putting it in I liked but wasn't a fave. Because, I don't know, I just feel like I didn't connect with this book as much as, like, Mads did. The only reason I read this book was because me and Mads were swapping, like, favorite reads. So she read Binding 13 and I read The Poppy War. And of course she rated Binding 13 5 stars because it's just so good. But I don't know, I feel like I just didn't connect with this book as much as Mads did. So for that, I'm putting it in I liked but wasn't a fave. The next book I read was Fall into Temptation by Lucy Score. This was just a nice fall romance book. I was definitely expecting more with this, I'm gonna be completely honest. But it was cute. I don't really have anything else to say about it. It was kind of weird reading a book with my name in it because that's never happened before. So it was just very interesting, but overall, I think it was a cute book. Again, there like really wasn't much to it. Like it was just a romance book. So I think I'm just gonna put it in interesting. Then I read A Court of Thorns and Roses. Of course, ACOTAR. Look at my tabs. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. You kind of can't really see them because the ring light's over here. But I was starting my reread of ACOTAR. If you want to see more of an in-depth video of me reading ACOTAR, I have an ACOTAR reread video, and I'm going to hopefully reread A Court of Mist and Fury soon, and then have that up as well. But ACOTAR has my whole heart. ACOTAR was the first romantasy that I've ever read, and I feel like that's why I love this series so much, is because it has such a special place in my heart. There's just so much going on, and I love it so much. For this particular book, I'm gonna say Never Shut Up About, but if it was the whole series, then I'd say 6 stars. But because it's just this particular book, I'm gonna say Never Shut Up About. Next, I read Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. This is the dark romance that I was talking about before. This was actually such a good book. I rated this a 4.5. Like, it's actually kind of crazy. The woman in this, I love her. I love her. Michael, though, I don't know. I feel like he was like I was saying before with Chestnut Springs, or saying just about in general, like I feel like the first book in a series with different couples that are like somehow interlinked like that, normally the first book is like kind of mid, and I feel like that's definitely what Michael Christ is, because out of the 4 horsemen, I feel like Michael Christ is like the mid one, because you have Kai Mori, who's the sweetest out of all of them, then you got Damon Torrance, who's just completely psycho, and then you have Will, who's hilarious, okay, and then you just have Michael, and he's kind of mid. But I still really enjoyed this book. I'm so excited to read about Damon, though, because he's my favorite out of all of them already. He's my favorite. I literally love him. So I think I'm going to put this in Never Shut Up About, even though, again, I've said this for, like, most of these books up here, that I really don't talk about them that much, but I literally love them, so they cannot be in liked but wasn't a fave, because they were some of my favorites of the year, but they weren't like top tier, you know? Then I read The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I really despise this book. Oh my gosh, I made a reel on this on Instagram. I've been getting so much hate, but also so many people who are saying that they agree with me that this book was just terrible. My expectations for this book were so high because everybody loves it, and I read it and I did not like it. I was bored. The writing seemed absolutely terrible. It was very vague. It was like, I was bored. I am hungry. Like, it was just really boring. Like, even the writing was boring. So it just did not sit well. I did not like it. I think I'm gonna put this in no, just no. Next, I read Verity by Colleen Hoover. This was a reread because I was so in the mood to reread this book, because there was just something about it and I had to. So I did. I reread it and it was great. I do not like Colleen Hoover and I do not like most of her books, but this book was something else, and I feel like a lot of people can agree with me on that. And I feel like if she wrote more of these types of books, they would definitely be more popular. And yes, she's already a very popular author, but she's also a very hated author. This book was just fantastic though, and I really, really, really did love it. It wasn't a fave. I kind of want to say it was though, but I don't know, because it's not that I never shut up about it. I don't really know what I'm gonna do there, because I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's okay. So I'm gonna do I liked but wasn't a fave. Next we have Unravel Me. This is the second book, not including the novella, in the Shatter Me series, and this book was so good. I got like, I think 140 something pages. Oh my god, I just opened up to a page and it said I look homeless. That's hilarious. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I DNF'd it at like 140 pages. I was gonna come back to it, but I felt like it was just going a little too slow, so I wanted to find something different. But like 40% in was when it got absolutely amazing, and then it just didn't stop. Like, it never stopped after that until the end of the book. Fantastic. I'm so excited to continue the series. And the next book is freaking Ignite Me. Okay? Unravel Me? I fear I have to... What'd I just do? Where was that? Here? Oops. Okay, whatever. I fear I have to put Unravel Me. Actually, I don't fear. I do not fear that I have to put Unravel Me and Never Shut Up About, because, again, with Shatter Me, and probably this entire series is going to be a 5-star series, just because it's so unbelievably, amazingly amazing. Then I read The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This is another thriller. I did not guess the ending whatsoever, and I do now realize why this book is so unbelievably popular, because I was really scared, honestly, to go into this book because I had such huge expectations and I was scared that it, like, wasn't going to be good. But, like, wow. Like, what? Crazy. This book is crazy. If you are looking for a genuine scare and thriller, you need to read this book, because I can't even say why I'm scared right now. I think I'm gonna put it in I liked but wasn't a fave, though, because I can't say that I never shut up about it, but I do recommend it a lot. There's been a lot of people that I've recommended that to, but again, a lot of people have already read that book because it's so popular. I was kind of late, though, to it. Okay, then I read the next book in the Unite Me novella. So I read Fracture Me. So this was like a 72 page little novella. And again, wasn't much to it. The character's point of view, who it was in, you can leave. The door's over there, okay? You're just gonna go right into interesting, because I don't like you. Not the author, but the character. Don't like you. And... yeah, the door is over there. Next, I read My December Darling by Lauren Asher. This was a little Christmas novella that she just wrote, and it was so cute. It was genuinely so cute. I loved the connection between the two. They're so cute. The Lego aspect, I literally said this, I think, twice already in 2 of my videos. I said it in my December wrap-up and in my Doing Christmas Stuff video. The Legos were so freaking cute. Like, I can't stop talking about that. It's just so cute. And I love how they're like adult kids with each other when they're playing with them. It's literally so cute. I loved that little connection. It was so cute. So I think I can't say Never Shut Up About, but this is also like a smaller novella type thing, but it's not going in interesting, because this is probably like one of the novellas that I'm like genuinely going to remember, because it's so cute. So I think I'm putting it in liked but wasn't a fave. Okay, next I have Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. Love this book so much. Joey Lynch, You Have My Entire Heart. Aoife and Joey are the best couple in the entire world. They were literally made for each other. If I could say that any single book in the entire world with any 2 characters that were specifically made for each other, any book in the entire world, give me any single book, I will always say that Joey and Aoife were absolutely made for each other. I have no more words that I need to say, but they were genuinely the perfect couple, and I love them so much, and I can't stop talking about them, and I love them with all of my heart. Aoife is my queen. Joey is my husband. And don't get me wrong, I still love Shannon and Johnny. They have a special place in my heart, but Joey and Aoife are the made for each other couple. I have no other words to say, and Saving Six is going right in 6-star reads. Thank you very much. Oh no. Next, I have Dear Santa, Send Me a Cowboy. This was like a 100-something, 200-something page novella that I read. No, it was like 150 pages. And it was a little novella I found, and it said Santa, which means Christmas. I love the Christmas time. I just wanted a cute little Christmas book. And then I saw cowboy. I love cowboys, so I clicked on it. Didn't read the description. That was my fault. It was terrible. It was a one-night stand, and the entire thing was spice. So you know where that's going. And lastly, the last book that I have of 2024 was Reckless by Elsie Silver. This is the 4th book in the Chestnut Spring series. It was very cute. I very loved it. Very loved it. That's definitely something. Theo is my favorite man of the Chestnut Spring series, I think. Winter kind of pissed me off at the end of the book, but I think that they're so cute together, and I think that the trope, if you know the trope in this book, then it's not really a trope that a lot of people like, but because it's Elsie Silver, she pulled it off fantastically, if that's a word. I think it is. But nobody is ever going to beat Willa and Cade, okay? Nothing's going to beat Heartless. I think I'm going to put this one in I liked but wasn't a fave. I rated this one, I think, like a 4.25. So it was more than Powerless was, but I still don't think that, even though like I just read this, I still don't think that I'm like going to be thinking about this book all the time. And I think that can definitely like be said with a lot of these books. Even Credence. I could probably bump Credence up to Never Shut Up About, because I do talk about that book a lot, honestly. But like, I just feel like I won't really talk about Reckless as much as I do Heartless and or Flawless. So you guys, this is my 2024 reading tier list. These are 51 books. I don't even know if I've said that, but I read 51 books in the month of, in the year of 2024. I'm so used to saying that for all of my wrap-ups, but this looks really good, actually, because there's not a lot of bad books that I read. I wouldn't even say bad, just in my opinion, ones that I disliked. There was only like 4, 5, maybe 6. Okay, well, this is going to be the end of the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!